They told me I was bad at math my whole life until I graduated from MIT in 2023 with a mathematics degree. Yo, what's up everyone? Professor X with a Z here, back again with my three or four part series on how I went from literally not being able to count past 10 in math to being an MIT mathematics graduate. Make sure you like and follow if you haven't already, and share it to your friends so that they can also partake in this fountain of knowledge. Nah, just playing. If you haven't seen part one, here's just a quick recap. You can also just check it out on my page. TLDR, I was bad at math in kindergarten. My dad worked with me until I wasn't bad. I was still kind of bad in 3rd grade. My dad worked with me until I wasn't bad. So now we can kind of fast forward to like the end of elementary school, beginning of middle school, kind of that's what this video is going to be about, basically just middle school, essentially. But at the end of elementary school, basically what happened was I was always consistently like 1 or 2% lower than exceeding expectations on the standardized test. So basically I was never placed in our gifted and talented program because I was just barely below the mark. So in middle school, I was sitting in class learning fractions in the 6th grade. They were like, oh, like we think that we should probably test this kid because he might have some skills. And my parents were like, okay, cool, like let's do it. So my dad had worked with me, again, that theme of, hard work, just doing reps. He had worked with me a little bit. He taught me some basic, algebraic manipulation, things like that. And just long story short, I did well on the test. So I was able to be placed in Algebra 1 in the 7th grade. And then, I did okay there. That's not really where the meat of the story is. The meat of the story is now, right? So when I got to 8th grade, so I was in geometry in 8th grade, and it was cool to me. I never really was particularly that great at math. I was getting like an A- or something like that, but like I never had really gotten like a A+, like specifically in middle school. And so one day I remember the defining moment was when I asked my geometry teacher. I said, do fractional exponents exist? So what are those? That's basically when you have a fraction as an exponent. And they said, yeah. And then I said, how do they work? And then they said, oh, I don't really remember. I think that was cap. I ended up going on Khan Academy. Pause. By the way, I'm going to have an entire video about Khan Academy because, spoiler alert, like they made me Khan Academy, Sal Khan. If you ever see this, like I'm going to do a whole video on Khan Academy because that is like the cheat code to getting absolutely great at math. Anyway, so I went to Khan Academy. And I looked it up. I looked up fractional exponents, and turns out they just correspond to different degrees of radicals, or like different nth roots, to like some extent as like a simplification. And to me, that just blew my mind. And I started to realize that there were things that they just weren't teaching us. So after that, my school had a paid subscription of IXL. I'm not sure if people are familiar with that, but it's basically it has like a bunch of math courses by grade, and you can go there and you can just do like a bunch of practice problems. I believe it's paid, but again, I might do a video on that with my Khan Academy video because those two things single-handedly carried me to like the absolute highest level in high school math and things like that. But like essentially what I started doing was I started doing, a lot of problems. Like I started going ahead because I realized again, there was so much that they weren't teaching us. Like I was looking at this list of things that the average 8th grader or geometry student should know. And I was like, bro, like a lot of it, we just hadn't gone over it yet. We ended up covering it, but I was just like, nah, like, so I was spending like hours after class, or like after I did my homework assignments, I would then spend extra hours just learning things on IXL and just really just taking in new mathematics ideas. I may not have completely understood every concept, but definitely I was just soaking it in and just in awe, right? So what do I want you to take away from this, right? The idea is, if you're at that level where you're okay at math, or you're decent at math, or like, you're a little bit interested in it, or you just want to get better, definitely, again, just like the moral of the last story, the moral of this story is definitely, just like putting in those extra reps, right? Like curiosity is really what changed the game for me. That's what took me from just being a math novice to starting to be more advanced in math. I took it upon myself to start learning other things because that's also what ultimately made a lot of the test easier, because I was studying things that we hadn't studied yet, or maybe some supplementary ideas. And when you study those supplementary ideas, it can then make some of the things that have already been taught a lot easier, or it like helps you understand. Like even now in my PhD, like a lot of times I might have to, if I'm struggling with a concept, I might have to read ahead a little bit just to get like, see where we're going, see the entire story. And then once I have the story, it can help me sort out the details in the current concept that I'm trying to master. Same thing that you can do sometimes. Like I don't, if you're just like learning it, just learning the fundamentals, I don't recommend like skipping too far ahead, but definitely just, you know, going a couple pages ahead or kind of just doing some extra problems outside of the realm can help you like see how you can apply those skills to the current things that you're learning. The true boom occurred the summer after 8th grade, but again, I'll get into that next video because that is the inflection point of my mathematical journey from being like a novice to like, that's when I started getting advanced. In preview, I had studied like algebra, trigonometry, and like part of calculus in like one summer, right? But again, I leave that to you next time. I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll see y'all next time, and you know, stay tuned for more episodes, but Professor X out. I'll catch y'all.